What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Drites Bros Sports Channel. I am Ethan, and I am bringing you guys a mock draft on ESPN today. Now, as this counts down, if you guys find our content interesting at all, please like and subscribe, and feel free to comment. I'm mostly just going to be telling you guys my opinions on this NFL mock draft. Another thing, very, very new channel. This video, if it ends up on YouTube, is my first video I've ever tried to create. I'm not really sure what I'm doing. I am just screen recording my phone for this mock draft and talking over it. So if you have any, I apologize if it's raw or if it seems new, but if you guys have any recommendations or comments, like I said, feel free to leave them. So getting into the sports, I am making this channel kind of alongside my two brothers there, and obviously not here in this one, but hopefully eventually some of the content they'll be able to get into it with me. Just thought I'd send a mock draft just to get some kind of sports content on our channel. That's what our channel is. It's all sports. We are out of Colorado, so any of our sports opinions and stuff might be slightly biased towards Colorado. Just a heads up. I think we do a pretty good job with it, though. Mock draft has started. Christian McCaffrey goes first. This is a full PPR on ESPN. I'm picking CeeDee Lamb to get that going. While we're waiting for our next pick, I do like doing these public mock drafts on ESPN. I like drafting against actual users and not like computer. I don't mind using like the Draft Wizard app or something like Sleeper or stuff like that. But there's something about drafting with actual users. I think it makes it a little bit more realistic. Now, there's also downside. Sometimes some of these people on here just draft craziness and ruins the draft and stuff. So I get it. Just whatever works for you. I understand. I like doing these. I'm just going to record this, and hopefully you guys can take away something that I am saying. But yeah, to the football, to the players here. Christian McCaffrey 101. I forgot if I said it already. This is a full PPR. I would take Christian McCaffrey almost in any format, one overall, all day. If he's not getting hurt, he's probably going to be the best player in fantasy. Simple as that. Catches passes, great team, great coaching, great offense, so on. Now, CeeDee Lamb. I love taking CeeDee Lamb too. Now, I compare him to Justin Jefferson last year. You're like, Justin Jefferson got hurt last year. He wasn't all that good. Sure, but if he wasn't hurt, he was going to be the first number one overall wide receiver in fantasy. That's easy for CeeDee Lamb this year if he stays healthy as well. So if he's not going to get hurt, he's going to go crazy. He is competing for targets with Brandon Cooks. Okay. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb's going to have that's a good time for CeeDee Lamb. He has Dak Prescott as his quarterback in a high-octane offense. They throw the ball a lot. Dak Prescott went off last year. They both went off last year. I mean, pending their contract situations, I'm sure it looks like all of that stuff's going to get figured out as the offseason continues. We're in early July right now. But and they play in a dome. It's like all of these little things just add up for CeeDee Lamb to go off again. All it takes is for him to not get hurt, and that's for every player, right? So you can't like just bank on an injury. Take CeeDee Lamb at 2. Now, if you don't want CeeDee Lamb, I understand Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, even like a Bijan Robinson. All of those guys have arguments. I just think the highest ceiling and the highest floor guy is probably CeeDee Lamb at 2. I think it's a no-brainer. But you can make arguments for these other guys. So as we approach, I'm glad there's not a ton of auto picks in this draft because it kind of ruins it for me like I was saying earlier. But going into my second pick here, I don't like the way my teams usually look when I don't get at least one of Isaiah Pacheco, Joe Mixon, James Cook, or like Derrick Henry to like solidify at least a hero RB build at the early parts of the draft. Like if you're drafting maybe top 4 picks. Now, obviously, if you draft number 1 overall and get Christian, changes a little bit. But I got CD, so I'm looking for at least one running back here, maybe even two, But I just know I don't like the way my teams look if I'm not getting at least one. So we have Joe Mixon and Cook there. I'll probably go Joe Mixon. Let's just take a look at the receivers. I also really like Drake London. So because the number one overall has back-to-back picks after me, and I know they took Christian McCaffrey, I don't think he's going to take or she's going to take two running backs. And since James Cook and Mixon are still there, I'm going to go with Drake London because I really like Drake London this year. Bringing in Kirk Cousins, as long as Kirk Cousins is just like half of is what he was when he was in Minnesota, which he should be as long as he's healthy, Drake London's going to go – he's going to be way better than he has been because of the quarterback play he's had. So, okay, Joe Mixon goes. I still have James Cook, so that's a pretty easy one for me. I need one of them. I don't like Achane, which we can talk about more in a little bit. Rachaad White's meh to me. I mean, he's okay. But Cook is – and especially in PPR, Cook is a good pick, in my opinion. So looking at the team, got James Cook, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London. Love the upside of Drake London in Atlanta with Kirk Cousins. He should have a better season, better offense overall than he has his to start his career. I had James Cook last year. I loved him. It was between – I probably would have picked Mixon over him, but Mixon got picked right before my early third-round pick. So I did just not settle, but kind of settle for James Cook. I still really like James Cook in PPR. So, we're going to wait. I'm glad this is going slow so we can talk. So, let's talk about Achane really quick. I like targeting Raheem Mostert later in drafts because I think Raheem Mostert's a great value. Now, the argument is Achane's looks like he's taking a step forward and Raheem Mostert's touchdowns have got to regress. Now, I agree to an extent. Raheem Mostert's not going to score 20 touchdowns again. But even if he scores half of that, even if he scores like 9 touchdowns, that's a great RB2 kind of player that you can get in like the 8th or 9th round in ESPN at least. Now, Achane, he's being drafted in early round 3 a lot of times. When you can get Mostert so much later, I think it's just clear that the value is better with Mostert. Now, also with Achane, we're counting on him to take a step up when we have no idea if that's going to be the case. Raheem Mostert's still going to get the goal line carries. Raheem Mostert's still going to get all short yardage and running down carries. Achane's going to be that change of pace back that probably can catch more passes out of the backfield. Sure. Decent for PPR. But if we're also talking about Mostert's regression, can't we also – isn't it fair to say Achane's not going to average 7 yards per carry again? So what happens if that goes down to like 4.5 yards per carry? Still not bad, but isn't that like why are we drafting him at the beginning of the third and Mostert late? I think Achane should be like 4th round kind of guy, and Mostert should probably be like 6th round kind of guy. It just doesn't make sense to me right now. Now, obviously, early July rankings could easily change and even out as we get towards August, late August. But that's just kind of my Mostert Achane rant there. I just don't get it at all as we're approaching my next pick. So I have James Cook, CeeDee Lamb, Drake London. I really love at this turn to look at quarterback and tight end. So I love coming out of drafts with Mark Andrews, McBride, or Kincaid. And then I love trying to get like a Lamar Jackson. But if I can't get a Lamar Jackson, I also really like going Dak Prescott because I like the Dak CeeDee Lamb stack. So that's something I'm thinking about heavily here. I'm not a huge fan of these running backs. I mean, Aaron Jones, Ramondre Stevenson, not huge fans of them. They both play for what should be not very great offenses, I think. I mean, we have Jonathan Brooks that you could take like a gamble on the Carolina offense. Don't love that. Wow. Okay, so I just clicked to receivers here. Now, I like a lot of these receivers late. The fact that Deebo Samuel's there is very tempting. The thing with Deebo is in full PPR, I don't think he's as good. I'm going to go Trey McBride. I don't get a lot of Trey McBride in my mocks, and I think being the wide receiver the second option essentially on a healthy Kyler Murray team. He was doing pretty good last year. I think that's a fine pick to solidify my tight end position. What I was saying about Debo is in full PPR, I don't love him as much and is in like a regular kind of standard league. I'm gonna wait and try to get Dak next round. Now here's the thing: when you draft at the turns, you have to kind of be willing to reach on some guys. And that's what I'm really tempted to do here. I kind of want to get Amari Cooper and reach a ton. Now, obviously, T. Higgins is there. I'm going to go Amari Cooper, guys. And I don't usually do that. Usually you can have a chance to get him at this next turn. But I really like getting Amari Cooper as my flex. It just makes me feel really comfortable and like I have a high ceiling team. So I really like that. Now, some of you might be like, that was stupid. Why are you reaching that high? I don't like any of these running backs. That's why. Lamar Jackson got picked for the quarterbacks. Now, you could think about Anthony Richardson. I just don't feel safe when I'm trying to get a Dak Prescott stack with CeeDee Lamb. If I don't even get that stack and that doesn't work out, I could go Joe Burrow or even Jordan Love later. So I'm okay to pass on Richardson and take a gamble and reach a little bit for a receiver I like. Now, let's just look at some of these other guys, like Malik Neighbors. How do you trust Malik Neighbors? I know he's the only guy on the Giants, but Daniel Jones is there. I just don't trust it. Like this early in the draft, I'm trying to look for something better. Tank Dell, he's the third option. Not very high upside without an injury. I don't think so. T. Higgins, that was probably the argument. It was between T. Higgins and Cooper. I just know T. Higgins has been very inconsistent with the Bengals in his career, and he battles some injuries sometimes. Now, Amari Cooper's getting up there in age, but he was so good last year until, the very end of the season. He was hurt the last couple weeks during the fantasy playoffs. But my goodness, he had a 51-point week in the fantasy playoffs before the championship round. So they added Jerry Jeudy. I think if anything, Jerry Jeudy is gonna just take some coverage away from Amari Cooper, and they're both just gonna be it's gonna be fine. Jerry Jeudy's not good. I'm a Denver fan. He was bad. So Amari Cooper's still the one there. I like him as a flex. Could have gone T. Higgins. And again, I did reach for Amari Cooper, but at the turns, you're going to have to do that. And like I said, I didn't like any of the running backs. The only one I would have maybe considered, Jonathan Brooks right now at the end of the fifth, that seems like fine value. The beginning of the fifth, it's like I'd rather take one of those big receivers to be my flex and then just wait to get like a Montgomery, a Connor as my possible RB2, and if not, then I just wait later and get like Mostert as my RB2. That's kind of my thought process on that. But we'll talk more about the running backs here as we approach the next pick. Somehow Anthony Richardson's still there. Now, at this point in the beginning of round 6, you almost never see that. I guess it helps me a little bit because I'm really hoping Dak falls to me. So that's fine, but it's surprising to see him there. Already got Trey McBride as our tight end, so we're good on tight end. I think what we're going to do here is we're probably going to hope we can get Dak to solidify our quarterback position, and then we can look to see if there's like a Connor or Montgomery still. I may do it the opposite way. If like Montgomery or Connor are still there, I might have to take them and then hope Dak's still there. We can look at what the 1-1 did. He already has Lamar, so that's what I'll do. If Montgomery or someone just took Devin Singletary, that's a crazy pick. But if Montgomery's or Connor are there, I'll take them. It's going to be hard. Somehow Brooks is still there too. I'd have it hard. There he goes. I knew he wasn't going to still be there, but I would have picked Brooks probably too if he was somehow lasted to the end of the 6th round. Now we're really just hoping for, we have a chance. Montgomery or Connor. That would be huge. That would be one of our luckiest breaks of a mock draft that I've had this summer. And somehow Anthony Richardson finally goes at the 6-9. And I am getting Montgomery. Wow, I almost never am able to get Montgomery there, and that is perfect. It's kind of funny. That's the same running back room I had in my redraft league for ESPN last year. So it's funny to have that same thing happen again. I don't love it, but I also definitely don't hate it. I'm going Dak with my next pick. That worked out perfectly. I really like the way the team looks. It's probably not my favorite team, but I'd probably so far I'd say it's pretty good. Maybe so far 7 out of 10 if our bench rocks. Maybe get that up to an 8 out of 10 draft. 10 being the best, but yeah, I don't mind that. We have some time here, so yeah, got the Dak and CD Lamb stack. That's awesome. I think that could be the best stack in the league this year. We got James Cook kind of as our RB1 in full PPR. I really like that. I mean, the Bills got rid of like all of their receiving options. You think James Cook would, at the very minimum, have the same amount of catches or targets as he did last year. Maybe more opportunity for some touchdowns as well. We got DeMont. Again, it's very similar. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs. I mean, we saw it last year. Now, yes, Jahmyr Gibbs looks better. Jahmyr Gibbs is better. Jahmyr Gibbs is more of like a PPR pass catching guy. But guys, David Montgomery averaged like 1 touchdown a game last year, essentially. Like if he's healthy all season, is it like out of the realm to expect 10 touchdowns from David Montgomery this year as an RB2? I'll take that. Like 50 yards a game and a touchdown, that's pretty cool to me. And with like he's getting the goal line carries a lot of the time. So I'm okay with him as my RB2, drafting him later in the round, as opposed to Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round. So that feels fine. We talked about Drake London. We didn't talk a ton about Trey McBride. What is there to say, though? I mean, I think that's what I said earlier. Is all we have to say is he's the second option in a healthy Kyler Murray-led offense. He was a great tight end last year. He's going to just continue. And now they have another option on offense. Could take away some of his targets, but at the same time, it could just help him be more open. So, and Amari Cooper, already said, not worried at all about Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Jeudy's, I don't want to say a bust, but as a Denver fan, he's about that. He's not good. Maybe, if anything, he can take a little bit of coverage away from Amari Cooper. So that can help Amari Cooper be better as well. It comes down to health. So, back to who's available. As we get to our next pick, our starters are pretty much all filled out. Obviously, defense and kicker, but we don't worry about that until the end. Raheem Mostert just got picked. Now, I'd say 75% of the time, I'm able to get Raheem Mostert at the end of my eighth round. Not in this one. Someone's on the same track as me and swooped him up mid-8th round. That's even too late still. I think he should be 7th, 6th round pick pretty easily. Great pick from that guy. Now that happened, I'm not really going to – I don't think I'm going to pick a running back here because I don't like any of these guys. Javonte Williams just went. I'm a Denver fan. Wouldn't have even picked him. I do not trust him at all. We look at Tajay Spears, Tony Pollard. They split carries in a horrible offense. Don't trust them. Ezekiel Elliott. Why would you pick Ezekiel Elliott over Rico Dowdle? Dowdle should and probably will be the starter. Ezekiel Elliott's washed. So there we go. Like, we have no running backs. We could get handcuff guys. Blake Corum, Trey Benson. We just have to wait. That's why it makes it even better now that we got David Montgomery, because if we didn't get David Montgomery and this is what we're looking at, that would be very depressing and not feel as good. So I'm gonna pass on that. Let's go over to our running back or receivers. I'm gonna take a shot on a Dunze. Usually I don't love getting a Dunze as like the third option guy, but like what happens if someone gets hurt there, you know, like, and then all of a sudden he has a chance to be awesome. Okay, well, I don't know why I keep peeking over here. I mean, I don't love any of those guys at all. I'd rather just take flyers on receivers. Now, Ladd McConkey, don't get a lot of him, but he could be a good pick, but I also don't trust that he's going to see the field all that often. I like Keon Coleman's upside as a guy on the receiver for the Bills after they got rid of everyone, right? Now, I was thinking Courtland Sutton for a second there too, but it's like, do we really want any part of Denver Broncos offense? Absolutely not. Do we trust Bo Nix? No. I hope as a fan that Bo Nix is good, but I have no faith in that team, even as I do like Sean Payton as a coach. I don't think they have any talent, not enough, near enough talent or good enough players on that team to have good fantasy outcomes. Now, if anyone will, it's probably going to be Cortland Sutton because he's like the only guy there. But I'm just not willing to do that. I'd rather take an upside Keon Coleman. So I like this draft. People are actually making picks, which is good. Coming back over to the team. So now I have 5 wide receivers. I think I'm forced to almost chill out now because I have some upside guys on the bench that maybe can take a few weeks to like develop at the beginning of the season, and then they can start getting into a groove. I have my flex option in Cooper, my starters in Lamb and London, and now I think I just need that we have some receiver depth. I think I'm looking for running back depth, even though I don't like the way it looked at all, but that's kind of how it goes. Like, here I am looking for some running back depth. I'm going to probably end up just reaching on Dowdle. There's probably I'm going to take probably 2 running backs here. I'm going to take whatever guy feels the best handcuff and Dowdle, assuming that they don't get picked. Now, that's the thing here, though, is like, I might be slightly reaching on Dowdle, but it's because I'm at the turn. Like, if I don't get him at these next picks, there's a chance that he's not there. Same if, like, you're a Jalen Wright guy. You might have to take him, like, around early. But we're so late in the draft, you have to take chances. And I have all my receivers that I like. Now, don't get me wrong. There's other guys on here that I like. But since I already have 5 wide receivers, I need to take a break on that and develop some running back depth. So Blake Corum's gone. I would have really liked Blake Corum. Now, I think Kyron Williams is the man. I would pick him at the turn if he was available for me in the ESPN leagues, but he never is. So if I'm not able to get him, Blake Corum is a guy that I try to look at. Okay, this one's interesting because, I mean, I don't mind Chase Brown on Cincy. I think he's a good role guy. I'm going to go Chase Brown. I just think he looked good last year, and since it's PPR, he is going to get some pass catching options or opportunity. Okay, I'm going to reach a little bit on Dowdle. I think he's the RB1 in Dallas, or he should be. So that one's pretty easy this late in the draft for me. So I got some running back depth there. That makes me feel good. Now, I mean, I usually don't try to go for like a quarterback or a tight end backup. I just can stream them on my tight end and quarterback bye weeks. If there's a huge value, you could take that on these next 2 picks, but usually I never find a value. So I'm kind of just abandoning that. I'm thinking maybe just another wide receiver and another running back at this turn, just for a little bit more depth. Maybe some high upside picks, and kind of just continue from there. I do really like the way the team's looking. Like I said, it was like a 7 out of 10 earlier. The bench looks fine. I don't love the bench, but I don't think it like tears down my 7 out of 10 ranking at all. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb stack feels so good to me if I'm going to be getting CeeDee Lamb at the 2nd overall. Drake London, I love. As I said earlier, I think he's awesome to have as my wide receiver too. I really like Amari Cooper. Now, I think that 51-point week is kind of like, obviously that's not going to always happen. He has a lot of bad weeks looking at his stats from last year. He has some big weeks, these 24-point weeks, 25-point weeks, whatnot. He has a lot of 4 and 6 pointers. So, I mean, as a flex, that's kind of what you have to expect. But I'm wondering if I should have gone with a safer option, maybe like a Godwin or Higgins. So maybe that's the only place that I somewhat regret is maybe instead of reaching so far in Cooper, I could have gone for like a Higgins, and maybe it would have felt a little better. Regardless, though, not bad. Trey McBride, I really like leaving the drafts with one of those top 5 guys. Trey McBride, Kincaid, Andrews. I almost never get Kelsey or Laporta. I think they get drafted a little too high for my liking. But I do really like getting one of those 5 guys, and Trey McBride feels fine there, feels solidified. So let's just kind of game plan. I like Romeo Doubs just getting a piece of the Green Bay offense. The Green Bay Packers offense with Jordan Love should be very good again. I think that's what I'm going to do. All these auto pickers are picking kickers and defenses a couple rounds too early, so I'll get Dobbs there. Let's go over to the running backs and see. This looks horrible. Horrible, horrible. I technically don't have to go on running back. It'd be nice to have maybe a Jalen Wright as a flyer guy that could have some upside potential if one of the most or A-Chan gets hurt, but I'm not even going to do that. I'm coming back over to the receivers. I'm going Dotson. With Jaden Daniels there, I think that is an upside play. So that's kind of what we're looking for a little bit there, is just some upside play as well as some maybe a good depth guy. Just I think Dowdle is a very good depth running back. Chase Brown is maybe an upside play if Zach Moss gets hurt or something. But I don't know. I think it's still around a 7 out of 10. I think I like the team. It just feels like I maybe got sniped a player or two. And then maybe I reached too far on Cooper when I could have had Higgins. I wonder if I see Higgins in the spot, that might have raised it up to an 8 out of 10. So lesson learned there. Maybe instead of getting so excited to get Cooper in your flex, maybe if there's a Higgins there, I might prefer him over Cooper. But like I said before, still, I do really like the way Amari Cooper's stats look. He just has some of those down weeks, but that's how Higgins is too. I think the thing with the Bengals offense is we all just assume they're going to get back on track now that Burrow's healthy or coming into the season healthy again. So I think there's excitement there, which is fair. I'm excited for that too. I think it's going to be a lot better. So I have one more bench spot. I kind of want to fill it with a running back here or I could handcuff James Cook with this Ray Davis. That wouldn't be a bad idea just in case something happens to James Cook. It just doesn't feel like an upside play at all. I'm going to. It doesn't feel. That's not an upside play at all. It's a handcuff. It's a safe play. But I don't mind locking it up with my last bench spot. This one's interesting here, just getting a defense. I'm going to take a peek at kicker just in case someone left a good one available. I mean, they're kickers. Who really cares? I'm getting a defense. I'll go with the Jags defense. I don't even really know. There's so much turnover defensively from team to team every year. You don't even know how good defenses are going to be until the first several weeks of the season are completed. So I'm not going to overthink this, just waiting for these picks to go by, and I'll grab a kicker, and then we'll spend a couple minutes looking over the team here in completion. I do like it. I think that's a good way to kind of state this team is I like the team, I just don't love it. And I keep saying it's because of the Higgins thing. I don't even think it's just the Higgins thing. I think I'd rather have a guy like Pacheco fall to me than have a James Cook, or maybe I should have spent more time going after a Mixon instead of James Cook, even though I do like James Cook. I just think there's something with James Cook's floor that maybe is a little I think Joe Mixon has a better floor. I think that's kind of what it is. James Cook could score 3 touchdowns this year if he's not getting any goal line carries and stuff. So kicker here, last pick. I mean, I always end up getting to this pick and for some reason overthinking the kicker position. It's just a mock draft. I'm just gonna get Cairo Santos. Not that I think he's good or anything. I'm just gonna fill out the roster and try not to completely overthink it. It doesn't matter that much. But okay, so here's the team. We talked a lot about Dak, CeeDee Lamb already, Drake London. We talked about the Cooper situation, and if I maybe would have rather picked Higgins. That's something that knocks it down a level. David Montgomery, too. Ah, man. I do like having him as my RB2. It's just not ideal. I think it would have helped if I would have had Mostert on my bench instead of like Keon Coleman or Brown. You know what I mean? If I would have had that safety and Mostert, I wouldn't feel so fragile at the running back position. Because imagine, I mean, if something happens to James Cook or Montgomery, or like one of them just isn't good, it's going to be a glaring hole, because then I have to rely on either Zach Moss getting hurt and Chase Brown getting a workload, or I have to just hope. I'm pretty confident, but like I have to count on Dowdle being the running back one for Dallas. And then I would already, if I was playing Dowdle, I already have Dak, CeeDee Lamb in my lineup every week. So that's kind of funky too if I have to play Dowdle with those guys every week. I would have to just hope that the Cowboys are scoring like 30-plus points every single game. So, yeah, I think this is like a 7 out of 10 draft. Mostert, the T. Higgins, the Amari Cooper situation knocks it down a peg. I think not getting Mostert late kind of knocks it down a point for me. And then, yeah, I think like not having like Mixon, even like Derrick Henry. I like having Derrick Henry just because I think he's in PPR. It's hard. I think it's James Cook is just is even with Derrick Henry. Maybe Derrick Henry scores the touchdowns, but James Cook is going to have a ton of receptions. It's something just like having to rely on James Cook being the RB1 isn't super comforting, although it's very possible. But yeah, those are those guys I'm targeting in that turn. I would like Kyron Williams on a lot of platforms falls to the end of round 2. That's a guy I would way rather have. Isaiah Pacheco is a guy that's almost always there at that turn. I would love Isaiah Pacheco, RB1 of the Chiefs this year with not really any competition. Derrick Henry is a nice name to have. It would be really cool if I could do like a James Cook and then Derrick Henry, maybe instead of Drake London, and build it that way. So that's maybe something I can look to do in the future. But yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Feel free to like and comment on this YouTube video if you found it enjoyable. And obviously subscribe if you want to continue to see more. Like I said, though, very raw channel. If you have any ideas for like a better video, I know this is very new, so maybe not your cup of tea, but feel free to leave it in the comments. And hope to see you guys again with some more content. So other than that, I am out. So peace out, guys. Have a